She did not make it, so we're thinking maybe that's now 22 still missing. That number is still kind of fluid throughout the morning, but we are going to keep you posted on air and online. We'll be right back, taking a quick break with more on this flood.
KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Thank you so much for joining us here on GMSA. We are continuing to monitor the devastation brought on by yesterday's floods in the Hill Country. We know at least 23 people have died in connection to that weather.
And they do expect more deaths, unfortunately, and also more than 20 girls unaccounted for after Camp Mystic. A lot of those campers out there along the Guadalupe River.
So here's everything we know so far. The amount of rainfall in Kerr County, up to 10 to 12 inches of rain has fallen. Latest update on the death toll per Kerr County Sheriff. As of this morning, an unknown number of people remain unaccounted for.
That's right. And they told us yesterday, state officials said that they have been in contact with 18 of those camps. And again, this is all per Kerrville Sheriff's officials and police out there. Red Cross also assisting with some of those reunification efforts. And if you need information on that, go ahead and call the number on your screen right there.
And overnight, more rain, flooding warnings this time over the Spring Branch area.
Okay, so we see it right here. Our Erica Hernandez is live off of 281, an area that was a bit of a concern out there for our folks over in Spring Branch. So Erica, what can you tell us about how things have evolved, especially along the Guadalupe River?
Well, RJ, the Guadalupe River is moving, but luckily, it didn't get high where they needed to close 281. Now, the bridge here is still open, as well as other bridges throughout the Spring Branch area. One thing we've been able to notice as we've been standing here in this area of 281 is we're starting to see some of that debris, some big tree branches going through the water, being rushed quickly down toward Canyon Lake area. Now, again, this is a situation we're constantly monitoring. I know the sheriff's office has been out here monitoring the situation here on the bridge, because of course if it gets any higher they will close it down. But as of right now, all the bridges in Spring Branch are open. The roadways, as you can just see, the cars are going through. Everything so far good here in Spring Branch. We haven't heard of any damage, but the one thing they are watching very closely is that debris that is coming down river. Now we're going to move now. We're going to actually try to head toward Canyon Lake to see what it looks like over there, as all this water is where it's going toward. So we'll hopefully be back later in this hour with an update from Canyon Lake. RJ, Sarah?
Erica, thank you. We're going to continue to keep an eye out on this throughout the morning.
Yeah, Sarah, that was an area you guys have been saying now for a while that all this water was basically going to swell over into Canyon Lake. So what's the very latest out there as you continue to keep us updated on these current conditions?
Yes, thank you, RJ and Sarah. We are monitoring as Guadalupe River has finally stopped being in its flood stages. So that is some good news. But as Erica just showed you, there's a ton of water that's rushing right toward Canyon Lake. Now, the good news is Canyon Lake can take on this amount of water because Canyon Lake is only 40 some odd % full. So it's actually in our benefit now that Canyon Lake is fairly dry because it's going to take on all of that water without officials having to release water from Canyon Lake Dam into the New Braunfels area. So that is some good news there. We do not anticipate flooding along the Guadalupe from Canyon Lake to New Braunfels. However, as you can see on your screen, we are dealing with some heavier rain right now falling near Seguin, out toward Luling, in northern Wilson County near Stockdale. I'm particularly concerned about flash flooding in this area right here from Seguin through Kingsbury out into Luling, because this storm has just parked itself east of Seguin. Now, this would be a different kind of flooding, not necessarily river flooding, but still ponding on the roads. We've got 130, of course, here as well, and we'll be monitoring that very closely along I-10 for the risk for some flooding. In San Antonio right now, we're just dealing with some light rain, and honestly, that's all I expect for a good portion of this morning. However, as we take a look at the larger picture, the setup shows that that stubborn low pressure system that has just parked itself across Texas, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So because of that, we do have a flood watch in effect for all of these counties in green here. It includes San Antonio, Seguin, Floresville, Hill Country, Kerrville, Boerne, Austin, up into areas like Burnett and even toward Round Rock, because additional flooding is possible. It doesn't mean it's a guarantee in this area, it just means that it's possible. We are seeing pockets of heavy rain here and there, and this flood watch is in effect until 7 p.m. We'll be watching for additional flooding, keeping you posted. Again, today a fairly damp day, but things will hopefully dry out significantly starting tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and take it to Patty, who's actually in Hunt now. That area has been closed down for a while because the road was totally inaccessible. It was underwater. Patty, you're seeing a lot of damage out there.
We are seeing a lot of damage, and here's the difficult thing that first responders are going to have to dig through. It is all the debris. It is just trees and stuff and trash piled on top of another. We showed you the car earlier, right? What we didn't see was this other sedan that is way down there. Our photojournalist Santiago Esparza actually saw this. Did you see there's another car down there? Again, these were all washed away by the river. You could see the river behind us there, kind of calm, kind of normal, the way it usually is, but this entire area was flooded. We're standing right next to a house. If there was more to this house, it is gone. And come here with me for a second. As we pull in here, you could see that all of the furniture that was ever in here, it has also been cleared out. You could see right straight through to the other wall and to that river. But one of the most eerie things that we've seen here is, if you look in here, it's just how this storm caught everyone by surprise. It looks like this house was cleared. There was nobody here, but look, the bed is still made. It is still made. That means somebody could have possibly been sleeping here when these branches and when that water pushed their way through right here into the house, flooding it completely. But it is just an eerie reminder of just maybe what some of the victims were experiencing. They were asleep in their homes when this flood came, and these are some of the dramatic images that we're seeing as we drive here along Highway 39, an area that we could not access yesterday. We're going to continue to stay in our community right here in Kerr County. We'll send it back to you.
Thank you very much, Patty. And those images right there are very difficult to watch. And at the start of this newscast, we told you about one of the girls that was unaccounted for. Right now, we are being reporting that 23 girls unaccounted for after Camp Mystic, basically along the Guadalupe River, got hit with heavy flooding. And what you're looking at right here is Kelly Ann Lytle. So this picture was shared to us by her father. I spoke to him yesterday. He was very emotional, and really the only things that he wanted to say was pray for his daughter and also for the other girls at this camp. And again, she was at Camp Mystic, and as of this morning, still has not been located. So a little bit of details about Camp Mystic. We've been reporting a lot about this. They host about 750 kids overall. Now, Natalie Landry says her daughter is also still one of those young girls right there unaccounted for. She says that her daughter is brave and sweet. Another mother says that she is praying and hasn't heard anything about the whereabouts of her daughter Janie. So teams are using helicopters and drones to locate people near Camp Mystic. In addition to Kerrville, other spots affected by these storms include Tom Green County and also parts of the city of San Angelo as well.
And another family missing after that catastrophic flood. Tivy soccer coach Reese Zunker, his wife Paula, and 2 children ages 8 and 3 have been reported missing. So the family is from Kerrville. Coach Zunker has been the soccer coach at Tivy High School for 12 years, very well known in the community there. According to family members, he and his family were vacationing in Hunt along with Paula's mother, Lucy. The house sat on the river between La Junta and Camp Mystic, and still they have not been found. So a family member reached out to KSAT with the following information, saying Reese and Paula are in their late 30s. Lyle, their son, is 8, and their daughter Holland is 3. They went missing early yesterday morning. That water swept through the house where they were staying. Paula's mother, Lucy, was actually able to be rescued by helicopter, but the rest of their family is still missing at this time. And just some of the there's so many missing. We don't have a solid number. There is a Facebook group, Kerrville Breaking News, and people are just posting photo after photo of, hey, this person's missing. Here's my loved one. If you see them, here is their phone number. It's overwhelming, the number of people that are still missing. And now that the sun is up, those crews continue to get out there and continue their rescue missions.
And that was one issue yesterday, Sarah, was that unfortunately we're not able to get to these areas fast enough. And we're continuing to follow the very latest developments with all of these folks that are unaccounted for. It is just a tragic, tragic situation in the Hill Country as we continue to gather more information.
All right, it is 8:10, 77 degrees. Remember, you can stay connected. Send us your pictures and videos of the weather events. It's really helpful for us to see what you guys experience. You can send it over by scanning this QR code, and your photo may even end up on air via our KSAT Connect app.
Taking a quick look at live cam here in the San Antonio area. Obviously not dealing with anything that we saw on the Hill Country, but we do have some wet weather and some cloudy skies. Sarah Spivey standing by with an update of the forecast and the current conditions in the Hill Country.
Back. We're continuing to keep an eye on things because east of San Antonio, there is some flooding that's ongoing right now. In fact, we've got a new flash flood warning in effect for eastern Comal County, eastern Guadalupe County. This is east of Seguin. You can see all of the heavy rain that's fallen from Kingsbury down to east of Seguin here. This new warning is in effect for the next couple of hours because we have seen in some instances 4 inches of rain falling in these areas just within the last couple of hours. You can see some of these rainfall estimates 2 to 3 to even pockets of 4. So this is not necessarily river flooding like what we've been seeing on the Guadalupe yesterday, but this is still a dangerous situation. You do not want to be caught with water running over roads. That's kind of the issue here. So remember that phrase, turn around, don't drown. It's important for you to know that flash flooding is possible in east of Seguin and eastern Guadalupe County. As I put this in motion here, what you can see is that we're really only looking at very heavy rain east of San Antonio at the moment. Right now, it's just light rain to no rain around the Alamo City, but this heavy rain does have the potential to build back toward that I-35 corridor, so we'll be watching for areas like New Braunfels down toward Garden Ridge. That is important to note. Generally, though, the Guadalupe River, we have started to see that now not flooding, which is the good news there. The problem is that we still are seeing the Guadalupe River rise between about Spring Branch and Canyon Lake. So right here is the only area that could be looking at flooding at the moment. We're still seeing the Guadalupe flow pretty fast, and so it's definitely a situation where you want to avoid if you can. But that big old low pressure system that's right above us continues to sit right over Texas. And with that in place, we're going to continue to see the risk for flooding. Overnight, that flooding happened near the Austin area, closer to Burnett, northwest of Austin. And now we're starting to see some flooding occurring out in areas nearer to Seguin. So because of that, there's a flood watch in place until 7 p.m. tonight. We're watching for additional flooding with areas of 1 to 3 inches, but even pockets of more than 6 inches of rain are possible. So today in San Antonio, the thing to know is that we'll be looking at a brief break in the rain around the lunch hour, but a redevelopment in the afternoon from that heavy rain that's falling east of Seguin is possible. 85 for the high, and we'll be looking at things winding down by this evening. As for tomorrow's forecast, we do have a chance for some spotty rain, but not nearly as widespread as it is right now. And spotty rain is again possible on Tuesday. So the biggest things to know in our forecast is that the Guadalupe River is receding. It's reaching Canyon Lake today, which can take on the water because it's only 40% full. There is a flood watch as pockets of rain are possible until 7 p.m. And that's a 60% chance today for rain, 30% chance tomorrow. And we're going to continue to keep you posted. Sarah, RJ.
Sarah, thank you. And now that the sun is up and the roads have been able to be open, we have crews in Ingram or outside of Ingram towards Hunt, really just looking at the damage this morning. And that includes Robert Arnold. He is a reporter for our sister station, KPRC in Houston. He is joining us to kind of assist with some of the reporting that we're seeing, especially along Highway 39. This was an area that was impassable yesterday. So let's check in with Robert Arnold and see exactly what the conditions are out there. Robert?
Yeah, and that's one of the high water vehicles, high occupancy vehicles for the Kerr County Sheriff's Office as they are coming into this area. We'll give you a signpost here. We're close to the Cypress Lake portion of Camp Mystic. That's where we have several young ladies still unaccounted for. At last count, it was between 23 and 25 young ladies are unaccounted for. So that's why we're going to start seeing more search crews come into this area now that we have some daylight. Let me show you, though, what search crews have had to contend with. The searching did not stop overnight. As we've been in this area, made our way from Kerrville into Hunt, we saw a sheriff's deputy still out searching, but it was incredibly slow because you have so much debris and it was pitch black. They had to be careful. They were searching for anyone they could not account for, and so that goes well beyond the young girls at Camp Mystic. Matter of fact, we've heard some people who are searching for family who were at Heart of the Hills camp as well. Where we're walking now is down to the Guadalupe, and this gives you an idea of just how fast and how heavy that water was as it came through this area. It flattened most of the smaller trees along the banks of the river. It came at such speed, it stripped the bark off of trees cleanly. We've seen it bend metal. In other places, we've seen it flip cars on its side. As you come down, all this debris, as that water came down the river, that picked up that debris and it just moved it through the area. And you see things like this chair, and you realize that was in somebody's house yesterday. That's how devastating these floods are. So here we are. This is the Guadalupe, and you can see how it's just pushed trees over, snapped them, uproot them. And a little farther down, past where that Chevy truck is coming, you can see there's an SUV in the ravine over there. We've seen a lot of cars like that, and search crews have been able to go through them. You'll see some spray-painted symbols on it. That means they've been searched and cleared. No one is in them. We're expecting, again, to see many more search crews start hitting this area. You saw that Sheriff's Office, Kerr County Sheriff's Office, coming through the area to start that effort. We're waiting to get more information on specifically where they're going to start this search effort, and as soon as we get that information, we will update you. For now, we are live in Kerr County. Robert Arnold, KSAT 12 News.
Okay, thank you very much, Robert. And again, just a scope of the devastation out there. Cars washed away, structures washed away, cabins, airstreams, all of that taking place right now along Highway 39 and the Guadalupe River. Okay, time now is 8:20, and we're looking at 77 degrees outside.
Good luck, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
GMSA. Okay, welcome back to Good Morning San Antonio as we continue to follow the very latest with the devastating flooding out in the Hill Country. And over the past 24 hours, Sarah, we've been getting some images and videos to our KSAT Connect page.
That's right. Thank you so much to our viewers sending us in. Really, for some of us that couldn't get to the areas, I want to show this video. This is off of FM 3355, bridge flooding upstream. Just take a look. I was out there yesterday. This really gives perspective how high the water was at one point. A lot of these trees came toppling down, and you can really just see that damage throughout the morning. Yeah. Let's see if we see any more. This looks like it's from the same family here. A better view off of that bridge. Just how high the river got and how powerful that water was.
Absolutely. You could see it basically reaching the tree lines. I mean, up to this point where, I mean, they're crossing an overpass over the Guadalupe River, but obviously just the amount of damage that we're seeing out there. Now, we are getting some new images as well from parts of Spring Branch as well along the Guadalupe River. We've seen several of these types of images right there. This is from Iziac. Debris found within the river. That looks like it might be a car as well. Some structures, homes. It looks like a dumpster.
Yeah, we got a dumpster in the water. Look how high the water was at one point. And let me see if we have any more. Lots of helicopters still out there yesterday. We saw helicopter after helicopter going up and down the river, as it was really the only way they could rescue people yesterday was via aircraft. Their boats couldn't get in the water because that water was just too strong. Almost all day yesterday.
Yeah, more than 200 rescues reported. And of course, as we've been saying to you guys, many of them, unfortunately, children that were being reported. I've seen some videos of them basically pulling them off of trees and things of that nature as we continue to look at some of the debris that we're seeing here along the Guadalupe River.
This is at Hunt, and as you can see, there is a longhorn in the water there. That longhorn eventually was okay. He was struggling, but he ultimately made it to land. But you can just see how strong that water was, even the longhorn struggling at this point. I'm actually surprised that
it wasn't swept away.
Yeah, he was not swept away there.
Yeah, some very compelling stuff here again. And this is all coming in from KSAT Connect. Sarah Spivey pointed out earlier that we're getting some new images here as well. These are from a little while or so ago. This is out here in Center Point. Let's check that out. That's from Jacob Graham as we get some video there of all the debris going along the Guadalupe River right there in the town of Center Point.
Yeah, so please just keep sending us your videos and your photos on KSAT Connect, and we will continue to show them on air and online as we get
and
these
I think
updates.
this is one of our newer ones that came in 47 minutes or so ago, and that's a photo of the road closed out there at Rebecca Creek Road. So we've been saying that this water basically rushing down the Guadalupe River, going through parts of 281 and also Spring Branch, as well as it makes its way over to parts of Canyon Lake. So something that we do anticipate we're going to get a lot more of these daytime images coming in to KSAT Connect, and we've been seeing that from some of these live shots as well.
That's right. Well, thank you, RJ, and just stay with us on air and online. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Are you worried at all?
Sure I am.
All right. Anything else you want to add?
No, other than, all we do is pray and hope Mother Nature doesn't take a toll on us.
And this morning, we are getting a clearer aftermath of the devastation in the Hill Country. At least 10 to 12 inches of rain falling in Kerrville alone, bringing with it tons of devastating flooding.
And this morning, more rain across the Hill Country as first responders, families, and people who live in the area continue to grapple with yesterday's damage.
Absolutely. So we have scenes with cars, houses, neighborhoods being fully engulfed by the water, and that unfortunately became all too familiar, a sight that just happened in a matter of hours, Sarah.
So here's what we know so far. Latest update on the death toll per Kerr County Sheriff. There's at least 25 people dead, an unknown number of people unaccounted for, and they said they're going to give us a press conference in Kerrville at 10 a.m. So we're looking forward to that for updated information.
That's right. So in a press conference last night, they did say that they did contact all 18 summer camps that have been contacted along the Guadalupe River, and that is according to state and county officials. Now, the Red Cross assisting with reunification efforts. Call that number right there, 800-733-2767, with more information if you need to get more information on maybe reuniting with a family or friend.
Sarah, what do we need to know about what's going on in the Hill Country today?
The good news in the Hill Country is that the Guadalupe River is no longer at flood stage from Kerrville out towards Spring Branch. It's starting to come down now at Spring Branch, and the waters are flowing into Canyon Lake, which is already low. So that Canyon Lake can take on all of those floodwaters. The bad news is we've still got that low pressure system that resulted in all of the flooding overhead. And as you can see right now on Authority radar, we have one of those storms that is just dumping a ton of rain directly east of Seguin. A flash flood warning in effect until 11:15 this morning for areas in eastern Guadalupe County. That includes Seguin, Kingsbury, and even out toward Gonzales County as well. Take a look at this. Heavy rain falling at the moment near Seguin High School, along that road all the way out to Belmont. In these areas, we've already seen in some cases 2 to 3 inches of rain, and the rain is falling at a very heavy clip. Here's a look at the rainfall rate. Anywhere you see these purples here, that's where we're dealing with a rainfall rate of about 7 inches an hour. That means if this storm parks itself east of Seguin for an hour, it would drop 7 inches of rainfall. And we really don't see it moving all that much. Here's a look at the radar, and we'll put it in motion here. Again, it's not really moving all that much. So there could easily be 6 to 7 inches of rain east of Seguin, causing some flooding. Now, this is not necessarily going to be river flooding like what we saw with the Guadalupe, but this could be flooding over streets. And so please remember, turn around, don't drown. If you have to drive in eastern Guadalupe County, wait until this warning expires at 11:15 this morning. Otherwise, what we're seeing right now is just some light rain around San Antonio. We do, however, have that low pressure system overhead, and so there is a flood watch, meaning we're going to be watching for the potential for flooding around San Antonio, around South Central Texas, including the Hill Country, until 7 p.m. as additional flooding is possible. Not guaranteed, but possible, like what we're seeing in eastern Guadalupe County. Here in San Antonio, and over the weekend, what we expect is a few more showers and storms today, a smaller chance for rain tomorrow, and any rain that falls could be heavy at times. I'm going to be back to kind of recap the event that happened, the devastating event that happened along the Guadalupe yesterday, and we'll talk more about a rain chance this weekend.
Sarah, thank you. And right now we have several crews in the Hill Country picking up the pieces, looking at the aftermath. Our Patty Santos is live in Hunt.
That's right. So off of Highway 39, where unfortunately that area was not passable yesterday, and as the sun comes up, we're seeing a lot more of these striking images. Patty, what can you tell us? And good morning out there.
Hey there, good morning. Well, you saw that image right behind me. That is the Guadalupe River. People are actually now able to cross it. It looks a lot different here where we are, but maybe less than a mile away from where we were just a little while ago. It looks a lot bigger and stronger up there. But this is a road that leads into the Walton Waltonian Lodge. And one of the gentlemen that was here, I asked him, you know, what's it like on the other side? He goes, it's a total devastation. You really can't describe anything that we're seeing other than that. Total devastation. You see just how powerful that push from the river was, and now we're actually seeing some of the individuals out here that live around here walking through the river, walking through some of the area that is now dried up, looking, you know, just kind of like us, in awe as well as surprised of what they're finding, how far things are finding. But this is what we're seeing right now, and you know, this is something that's going to continue. It's going to take this community a very long time to actually clean this up. And once they come out of that shock, they'll probably come out like this community does and help each other out. But I do want to give you an update. We have seen plenty of emergency vehicles that have been driving down Highway 39 here on their way to Mystic Camp, where the search continues. We've seen boats, we've seen canines, we've seen other heavy equipment that's being taken up there, even places for some of the debris to be put into and to move out of the way. But we're starting to see this community now waking up, now starting to assess everything that has happened overnight. We're going to continue to bring you these images throughout the day, and of course bring you the very latest updates. We'll send it back to you guys.
Patty, thank you so much. Now, to give you some perspective, this video on your left of your screen, it was sent to us by Rosario Navarro, and you can see that's what it looked like yesterday. Some of the floodwaters that was left behind, trees torn down, roads full of debris. And now this is where Patty is. This is what it looks like this morning. So you can see the water has started to recede. It was receding all day yesterday while we were out there, but you just saw how high it was, and the debris, the cleanup is going to be tremendous and take a lot of efforts, especially as crews continue to search for so many missing out there.
Absolutely, Sarah. And city officials and county officials and the state saying that if you do not need to travel to that area, do not, because they still need a lot of cleanup and a lot of rescue and recovery efforts. So we saw some pretty intense scenes of survival yesterday. Several of our crews reporting choppers flying over them. Choppers like this were helicopters saving people from the floods and rushing water. So let's give you another look here. This is one of a helicopter rescuing a person from a flooded area. Look at that right there. I mean, this is terrifying, intense scenes out there, being pulled from trees, being pulled from the water. And according to CNN, we have 237 people that had been evacuated or rescued. That number was just of last night, and this number including those rescued by the Texas National Guard and, of course, swimmers as well. The rescue teams, out of these 167 evacuations were conducted by helicopter. CNN also reporting that Major General Thomas M. Sulzer of the Texas military said in a press conference that personnel will be sent to manage evacuee shelters with tracking efforts to help confirm those located to date.
And just a reminder, there is going to be a press conference in Kerrville at 10 a.m. We will bring that live as soon as we know more information about it. And we, of course, will stream that live on air and online.
And, of course, we're monitoring the very latest situations throughout our entire morning as we continue to see some of the aftermath of that flooding.
All right, still ahead on GMSA, how yesterday's devastation looks this morning. We have another crew on the ground keeping you informed.
And outside with Live Cam. In San Antonio, we're just dealing with some light rain, but there is ongoing flash flooding nearer to Seguin, east of San Antonio, out toward Kingsbury, and that heavy rain is actually building back toward New Braunfels. An in-depth look at the authority radar coming up. Welcome back. I want to get you up to speed to what's going on the Authority radar right now. We have that low pressure system, that same low pressure system that created all of that flooding along the Guadalupe River. It is still directly overhead. So as a result of that, we are starting to see some flooding and the risk for flooding in eastern Guadalupe County here, east of Seguin. You can see as I put this in motion, even over the last 30 minutes, this storm has just parked itself over eastern Guadalupe County from Seguin all the way into parts of Gonzales County near to Belmont and out toward Luling. The heaviest of the rain is falling right now over Seguin, downpours, very heavy downpours in Seguin right now near Seguin High School. And it's starting to build back toward New Braunfels. Near McQueenie, we're seeing some very heavy rain. Again, the risk here is not for flooding. The risk here is not for hail. It is for flooding. The risk is not for hail. The risk is not for gusty winds. This is a flooding risk, flash flooding. Remember that phrase, if you see water on the roads, turn around, don't drown. Now, we'll have to watch very carefully Cibolo Creek, Guadalupe River in these areas. We'll be watching those very carefully. But right now, we're just looking at some very heavy rainfall rates of about 4 to 7 inches an hour with this storm. So that means if this storm were to just sit for an hour, it would easily produce up to 7 inches of rain. And we really don't see too much movement here. We have to watch as it back builds toward I-35. I would say areas, even though you're not in the warning, New Braunfels, Santa Clara, Marion, even out toward Garden Ridge, even though you're not in the warning, I would be on high alert for the potential for some flooding here. Again, as we take a wider view, just some light rain in San Antonio, but the reason why we are seeing these very heavy rain showers and storms is because over the last 24 hours, notice we've just dealt with a low pressure system that has just been right overhead. This is that same low pressure system that has produced a ton of rain. Take a look at rainfall in the last 24 to 36 hours or so. Around San Antonio, you can see we've seen about maybe 1 inch to 2 inches of rain, but you zoom out, look at these areas that have gotten so much rain. Near to Marble Falls, more than a foot of rainfall, out near San Angelo as well. And then here in Kerr County, that's where we've seen that devastating flooding along the Guadalupe River. And here's the reason why. Here's Hunt, here's Ingram, here's Kerrville, here's Camp Mystic and Camp La Junta, where children were rescued, and unfortunately some kids are still missing. They received up to about a foot of rain in a very short period of time, and the Guadalupe River pretty much immediately started flooding. We saw around 4:35 in the morning, the Hunt area, the river rose to 29 feet near Kerrville. Just 10 minutes later, rising to 23 feet downstream by about 11 o'clock near Comfort, rising to 35 feet, winding through Kendall County, and by 7 p.m. last night, 50 feet is what the river rose to near Ammons Crossing there south of Bergheim. And just this morning at 5 o'clock, we finally saw the river crest downstream Spring Branch, and it's flowing into Canyon Lake as we speak, where Canyon Lake will and can take on that water. So that is good news there. However, the thing is, we are still seeing some rain out there with that low pressure system overhead. Our entire San Antonio metro area, including New Braunfels, Seguin, Floresville, Pleasanton, up into the Hill Country, is still under a flood watch for additional flooding. Areas of 1 to 3 inches of rain, but like what we're seeing in eastern Guadalupe County, we could have isolated pockets of 6 inches. We're watching for additional flooding until 7 p.m. Let's go ahead and take a look at your hour-by-hour forecast, though, around San Antonio. Now, this is just for San Antonio. You can see that our light rain is starting to come to an end. We're going to have a little bit of a break, but back into the afternoon as those storms start to back build towards San Antonio, we'll have a 60% chance for additional showers and storms before the evening. As we look ahead to the rest of the forecast for you, tomorrow there's only a small 30% chance, same on Monday. Then we see rain pick back up on Tuesday as a possibility before we finally dry out by the end of the week. We'll be back with more news and weather for you after the break.
Coming up on 8:53, welcome back to Good Morning San Antonio. Well, this morning, a fire station in Center Point recovering as well after they say 8 feet of water went through their building, destroying everything in that area.
So fortunately, no one was inside at the time since everyone was out on calls assisting with those rescues. Despite losing out on $1,000 of equipment, firefighter Razor Dobbs says it's just stuff that can be replaced.
We're here to serve, and this is nothing compared to what we saw out there today. This is nothing. If there is any wonderful, beautiful thing about all of this was how the community came together on this, and is still coming together.
Absolutely. It's so wonderful to see the community coming together, just some kind of silver lining in this devastation. And Dobbs says they are trying to get everything back in service so they can get ready for more calls as they continue to come in. And of course, we have so many crews out there, and we're going to continue all of this coverage on air and online.
Yeah, there's a ton of manpower out there. The Texas National Guard. We also have DPS officials and, of course, those river rescue teams as well, making sure to go out there, recovery efforts, rescue efforts.
We don't even have a solid number on the amount of people that are missing. There is going to be a press conference at 10 a.m. and hopefully we'll have an updated number on the number of, unfortunately, deaths and any more rescues or recoveries happening. It is 8:54, 77 degrees. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Good Morning San Antonio, continuing our coverage on the devastating flooding in the Hill Country. And what you're looking at right now is a list of shelters that have been set up for those people that have been affected in Comfort. They're at Comfort High School and the Emmanuel Lutheran Church.
Now over in Kerrville, shelters are at Calvary Temple Church, Notre Dame Catholic Church, Shriner University, and First United Methodist Church.
And reunification centers for those who are still missing or unaccounted for. That has been set up, one at Ingram Elementary School and one at Arcadia Live in Kerrville. You can find this full list on our website, ksat.com. And of course, we're still updating people out there about these shelters and centers as we get more information.
Of course, we don't have a solid number on the amount of people that are missing. Those rescues and recoveries continue today. I know there are still 23 girls still missing from Camp Mystic just south of Hunt. You know, we know that a lot of them were rescued and reunited with their families yesterday, so we are going to keep you updated on that. And coming up at 10 a.m., we do have a press conference that will bring you live on air and online out of Kerrville.
All right, Good Morning San Antonio. We'll be right back at the top of the 9 o'clock hour.